And then there was one game left in the regular season, one final home game in the regular season for the 49ers. A win gives them the number 1 seed. We dive into the Seahawks next. What is good, everybody? Welcome to the original Gold Standard Podcast. I'm Rob Stats Guerrero alongside Levin Black. We are part of the Pro Football Insiders. Levin, it's Seahawks week.
Yeah, I'm kind of. It's almost like the June, July period where I'm just trying to ignore that it's coming because otherwise I get too amped up and it's like, wait, I still got 3 more days. So I'm trying to keep it concentrated on other things.
Yes, just bottle those feelings up. Don't let them out. That has been proven to be a tried and trusted strategy when dealing with emotions. I want to ask you this question first, right off the bat. Is Saturday night the biggest regular season game in Levi Stadium history?
No. Well, regular season? Okay.
See what I did there?
I was going to say, wait, they've hosted a Super Bowl before, not with the Niners, but that would be the biggest game. But
right.
Yeah, regular season. I mean, I'm trying to remember if. No, yeah, it's got to be the biggest one.
I think it is too. You know, even like 2023, they played the Eagles, but that was in Philly. They played the Cowboys that year, and that was a big game, but it wasn't like
it was week 5. So.
Yeah. And so I think this is the biggest regular season game in the history of Levi Stadium when you consider who it's against and what's at stake. I think that's where we are. And it's crazy to say that it would come in this season with all the adversity that this team has had, but that's what we're looking at on Saturday night.
I mean, it is interesting that this has to be it, but it's also not really saying much, if we're being honest.
Well, it's not like Levi's opened last year, though. You know?
No, but I mean, the Niners, when they have done playoffs, they've kind of dominated their way to the playoffs. Right. So end of season wasn't as important since Levi got built.
This is an interesting question. Mike UA, YouTube channel member, shout out to you and all our members, says, will the end zones be black? It might, because they're going with the rivalry jerseys. They got the black helmets, black pants. They practiced in black yesterday night, which was kind of cool to see.
We know I think a black end zone with the red stylistic writing 49ers, that would be cool. I don't know that they will go black. I don't know if they go black, if any Niners player on offense has black cleats on, that should, like Kyle Shanahan should say, hey, we're having black end zones. Nobody's allowed to wear black cleats because it is a thing offensively of being able to see that your feet got down.
Yeah. I think they're telling fans to wear black too. I think they want like a blackout, which it'd be nuts.
I mean, I would wear a new black jersey, but I've never ordered one because every time I look, it's like, oh, you might get it in 3 months. And it's like, I'm not spending $100 on something that you can't tell me when I'm getting it, period. Like, I wanted one, and I looked before the season, I looked a month into the season, and I just looked the other day, and it's like, no, I'm not ordering one. If it takes 2 to 3 months, completely inexcusable. Early hot take. NFL Shop, get your shit together and actually have the rival jerseys in stock.
Jason Aponte says, if they win, you can keep the jersey, but if they lose on Saturday, like, that's it. Burn the jerseys, can't wear them again.
I mean, not wrong, but I do think that is the best rival jersey I've seen of any team. I love black and red. One is special for me because my dad was a high school soccer coach and they were black and red growing up. So like those colors hit differently for me, but the way that they trimmed it with the gold, that takes it to a whole different level from the original black ones from 15 years ago now.
Yeah, those were terrible. The more I have seen the jerseys, the more I have started to like them. And maybe it's just because like I'm connecting them to this game, which has all this meaning and importance. I don't know, but I'm fascinated to see them on the field. Okay, LA Niners 212 YouTube channel member says, did you see the field is supposed to be black? I saw a picture with Kittle on the field and it's spray painted too. Cool, man. What the hell?
The field? No, the field cannot be black. The NFL has rules against color.
No. Yeah, the grass is not going to be black.
Yeah.
But yeah, the end zones probably will be. All right. Let's dive into it here. I was doing a lot of kind of scouting of the Seahawks today. I went back. I rewatched the game last week because what everybody has said is, the Seahawks offense is sort of fallen off a little bit. And I was watching that. And I have to say, I don't know if Sam Darnold has an ankle injury or a knee or a lower body injury of some type.
Mobility is not there.
Yeah, he looks very labored when he's even just executing fakes or the outside runs. He doesn't seem to be moving. Sam Darnold can move, and he does not look like he's moving well right now.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see if he actually does have an injury. I also do think that it came after the really bad game against the Rams the first time when he threw 4 picks. He seems to have changed since then and changed for the worst, in my opinion. He's just not the same. And actually, Ted Ginn wrote an article breaking down Purdy and Darnold and a couple other things, his film breakdown for The Athletic. And he said his title for the Darnold section was Sam Darnold has turned back into a pumpkin.
Well, we have said that many times. By the way, did you say Ted Ginn? I think it's Ted Wynn. Ted Ginn was the kick returner.
Is that how he pronounces it? Because that name can be pronounced. Some people pronounce it Ginn, and some people pronounce it like Wynn.
I think it's Wynn. I just saw when you said Ted Ginn, I was like, wait, the kick returner is
no.
Articles for the
I don't know how he pronounced because it is pronounced differently. Like there is a I can't remember. He owns a big business, and I just saw an interview with him, and he pronounced it Ted Ginn. I just saw a documentary where he was interviewed. But yes, I know it's pronounced that way for like the poker player pronounces it Win.
Yeah, it's Ted Nguyen. He writes for The Athletic. He's phenomenal. I always thought it was Win. But anyway, regardless, go check it out. Not now.
This is our time.
There you go.
It's been 3-4 months since you've done that one.
I know. That's why I wanted to get it back. So that's what I saw when I was watching the offense. And the other stat that they flashed during the game, which blew me away. On 3rd and 7 or longer, the Seahawks are the worst team in the league. The worst. They went into the game against the Panthers 12 for 86 on 3rd and 17 or longer. That is a conversion rate of 14%. Worst in the league. I actually went through the game. They were 3 of 9 in that situation during the game. So they're 15 of 95 on 3rd and 7 or longer. And what I have said was Robert Saleh and this defense has to win and take advantage of when the other team is behind the sticks. And they have not been doing that. They didn't do it against the Bears. If it is 3rd and 7 or 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 12, those are the possessions where you have to get stops.
So 2 things. One, that was going to be my number one key was sell out for the run on early downs. If they get some big pass plays on early downs, so be it. But sell out on the run on early downs so that you get them into 3rd and longs, and then you can go back into coverage. But the one thing, and I was unable to find it, so I don't know, how frequently on those 3rd and 7 plus is Darnold pressured? Because I think that the reason they might be so bad at that is due to something that the Niners can't duplicate. When you get in the 3rd and 7 and long, what's the defense get to do? Their defensive ends get to tee off and just go all out against the pass because they know it's a pass, and you tend to have better pass rushes on 3rd and longs. The Niners can't take advantage of that. So if it's because we know Darnold sucks when he's pressured. That's always been his MO, and even last year with the Vikings, it was still true. When he got pressured, he was not nearly as good. So is it something that the Niners can take advantage of, or is it not? Because if it's based on the defense getting pressures, that statistic doesn't matter.
I don't know. I didn't track it as I was going through it, but a lot of the times it's just like 3rd and 12, and they'll complete like an 8-yard pass. And it's just
he throws short of the sticks almost every time.
Yeah, so that'll be one of the key matchups that I will keep an eye on. Like Robert Saleh. To me, this game is all about from the neck up, and it's all about the coaching battle. Whether it's Saleh against Kubiak or Shanahan against Mike Macdonald, it is going to be all about the battle, the head games between the coaches on the sideline. Red and Gold Blooded says Darnold will play as good as he did last year in Week 18. I want to see what Darnold looks like. I still think that he has, at least in fans' minds, to prove himself in a big game. Now, he did win that game against the Rams, and that was a spectacular game for him, and I'm sure it was.
Yeah, but I mean, they put up a lot of points, but he also did throw multiple interceptions in the game.
Yeah.
Are the Niners going to blow a lead like the Rams did? I mean, let's call it what it is. The Rams had that game won, and they blew it. So
you don't think that the Niners offense is going to get stopped enough for teams.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, if they come out like they did in the first half of that game and they turn the ball over multiple times, I think the Niners are leading by like 14 plus, and you may be able to stop the Niners once or twice, but they're going to keep getting. And one of the keys to the offense lately, like since I would say about week 5 is when the tide turned, because early on in the season we did talk about how the red zone woes were continuing and they were winning in spite of them. And since that point, they've been on one of the best runs ever at finishing in the red zone. They're, if I'm not mistaken, number 1 in that statistic now this season. And there's something like, I saw it some weeks ago, so I don't know how many times they've done it since. I should have looked this up and I didn't think about it. But there was one point where they had finished like 27 out of 32 for a touchdown throughout this season. And they got to be even better than that now, because, I mean, they've scored so many touchdowns of late. So it's an insane run of finishing drives for touchdowns in the red zone. And that's going to be something they need to continue doing. It is not an offense that can settle for field goals because of what the defense is.
Field goals are failures. I have said it long before this year, and when your defense is as bad as the Niners defense, it's even more so. One other Darnold note before we flip it around. He is awesome on play action. He is cheeks on straight drop back passes. He is 23rd in EPA on non-play action passes. 23rd. Like, that is terrible. So you have to, I don't know how they force them out of play action. I don't know. Or maybe you just don't care about play action. If you're up by a bunch of points, you don't care about the run. But when he doesn't throw play action, he is the definition of average or below average.
I think that if you're the Niners, what are you more comfortable with? Trying to sit back and stop JSN and Sam Darnold and let the run game go? Or shut down the run game and make Sam Darnold beat you? Like, 100%. Shut down the run game and make Sam Darnold beat you. And if you're able to build a lead, then you can start playing against the pass a little bit more because of game script. But starting out, shut the run down. Don't allow them to get the run game going, because if you get the run game going, the play action becomes more effective.
Right.
And Sam Darnold feels the pressure come off. You know what I mean? Keep the pressure on him by shutting down that run game, and make it seen early that Sam Darnold knows it's all on me because they're not going to let us run.
Dale8288 says the pressure is on Darnold to not blow another great season. It's good for at least 2 turnovers. Let's hope, because the Niners need them. San Francisco did a good job against the run against the Colts, but they were missing 3 of their 5 offensive linemen. The Bears, I was stunned that the Bears did not run the ball more, especially early in that game. And I don't know if the Niners took them out of it because they were playing like a 5-man front, and so Ben Johnson decided not to force the run early. But when the Bears did run it, they ran it well. So I still don't have confidence in the Niners' run defense.
I think it's because when you watch the tape of the Niners, you can see, 1, there's gaps in the defense because they're running zone. 2, the safeties suck at deep coverage. So you have big playability. I mean, the Colts came out pass. Nobody expected that with Jonathan Taylor. And it was working early on. I mean, they got a couple stops late, but it was working because they can't cover. Somebody's going to be open because of the type of defense they're playing, the skill that they have playing, and how bad the safeties are in deep coverage.
I really think part of where they miss Fred Warner, obviously they miss his just ridiculous physical ability, but I really think they miss him from the neck up too. I think he was doing a lot of, hey, this is our play. Wait, they're running in motion. All right, you get this guy. You're responsible for this. You take the flat. Like, I think he was getting everybody. Yes. And they miss that more than anything. OKLA Niners 2112 YouTube channel member says, "Hey guys, I addressed my name issue from last week. You guys were questioning. I put an explanation in the chat in separate paragraphs when you see it. I did see it, OKLA Niners, but it got Levin so mad when I brought it up earlier that I didn't want to address it because I just like making him mad. But
What
I
is
did
it?
see the explanation is Oklahoma to LA. Mr. Black is right. He said it's a hybrid between being a Sooners fan, Oklahoma, and of course the Niners. And 212 is the code we use in high school and into college football. So
Say that first part again. First sentence.
Oklahoma to LA. I must say, Mr. Black is right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm right and we disagreed, what's that mean about you?
It means you weren't wrong. Levin and I got.
It means you were.
Levin and I got into a chat argument the other night. I'm just about to go to sleep, and we'll get back to more Seattle preview in a second.
I've forgotten about this.
I'm just about to go to sleep, and I texted him because it was right after the Rams lost, and there were a lot of people that thought that, okay, the winner of the Niners Seahawks gets the 1 seed, the loser gets the 5 seed, but that is not the case. It depends on what happens with the Rams game as well. So everyone's going through the seeding things. And I'm texting Levin and I'm like, yeah, it comes down to common games. And the 49ers record in common games is this. And the Rams is this. So that means this. And I'm like, okay, I push send on the text. I'm literally coming upstairs after doing all my work. I'm just about to shut it down for the night. And Levin's like, no, you're wrong. Actually, it's this and this. And I was going to be like, oh.
Well, I said you were right about the result. The Rams have the advantage, but the record you said was incorrect.
So I was like, normally I would just let it go, but I was like, no, I really think I'm right this time. So I like came all the way back down, started like drawing it out on a piece of paper. Like, no, this is the win. Okay. They lost this, that. And I text back, no, I think I'm right. And I was like, I know you're better with numbers than I am, but I'm right about this. And you were like, no. And finally, how did the conversation end?
Yeah, I misread your original text. Well, part of the discrepancy was you took the division games out. I didn't. Mm-hmm. But then I misread your original text on the records. Thought you were one off. You were not. But the best part of it was the ending because you said, dang it, Levin, I was going to sleep. And what did I say?
Well, at least I took sleep away from you because I'm working nights.
Yeah, I said, I'm on nights. I don't care. I'm going to be wide awake for the next 6. This was about midnight on the East Coast. And it's like I had 6 more hours to go on my shift. So I'm not costing myself any sleep.
So I had the satisfaction of being right, but at the sacrifice of my own personal health. So, okay, let's get back to the preview. One other thing that came up this week, because Diamador Lenore, he talks crap, especially with the Seahawks, and he has said he wants to cover Jackson Smith and Jigba, like shadow him all game long.
Good.
Grant Cohn asked Kyle Shanahan about that this week.
Said he wants to shadow him and cover him man-to-man. Is that something that you would consider if he came to your office and lobbied for it hard enough?
I mean, I know Dima well enough to know that's what he wants every week. So him lobbying for it really hard just makes me like him more. But it would have to do with what was the best for our team and schematically what we're going to do.
Now, they have not really ever done that. The Niners are not a kind of you get this guy team. Now, they really haven't had a cornerback that's good enough where you would think that they should do that. But I don't hate the idea. I don't dismiss the idea out of hand, Levin.
It absolutely should happen. The thing about JSN is he goes slot, he goes outside right, left, everywhere. What do we know about Lenore? He could be the best slot nickel corner there is in the league, and he's good outside. I wouldn't say he's quite great outside. I think the fact that they haven't had another corner great opposite of him this year has made him look better than he really is. Like they were mentioning it on the broadcast the last game that they're really just not going after Lenore this week. Like, yeah, because they got Luter out there because Green is hurt. But it is a case of they want to move their receiver around to all different types of spots. And when they move him to the cheat code spot of the slot, that's the cheat code slot of Lenore too. So let him do it. You're playing strength against strength rather than allowing them to dictate their strength to find a weakness, because they'll just keep moving him until they get the matchup they want. If you're not having him shadowed, they're going to move him outside, then move him to the slot, then move him. And until they get him matched up with Luter or Stout or one of the other corners. So just shadow him and take away their biggest strength.
And there's a few things to consider. first of all, we don't know if Renardo Green's going to play. He's practicing in full. That's a good sign, but we don't know because he also practiced last week and didn't end up playing. Upton Stout is in the concussion protocol. We don't know about that too. What I think the 49ers would say is we're a little nervous about potentially having to put Upton Stout on the outside if we move Lenore to the slot, or whoever else is going to have to be on the outside. But the Seahawks are so reliant on JSN. He has 155 targets this year. Nobody else on the Seahawks even has 70. Like, it's JSN and nobody. Last week, no wide receiver on the team except JSN even had 12 receiving yards. Like, it is one guy that they throw the ball to. I think you have to consider it if you're the 49ers. You're paying Diamador Lenore like a top corner. He wants to do it. I think you should at least try it. And you know what? If it doesn't work during the game, you can always switch back. But it's not like their defense is working now anyway.
I think the biggest worry they would have over doing it is miscommunication. Like you said, Fred Warner was communicating, saying, you take this guy, and trading, making sure the trade-offs were done correctly. If they are doing a shadow and they're moving JSN all around, who different people have to cover changes dramatically as he changes sides of the field in motion. So you have to have good communication and everybody being on the same page, knowing he went from the right to the left. That means I'm shifting over and taking the tight end instead of this wide receiver in the slot, or I'm taking the linebackers. I'm responsible for the running back now instead of the tight end. Or, for the safeties, it can change. Oh, I can't come down anymore because he moved to my side of the field. Now I'm the one that has to play the deep coverage, and it's the other safety that can kind of cheat down and come for the underneath. There's a lot that can change based on him going across the formation. Now, there are ways that they could run a more simple defense to eliminate some of that, like the two safeties, just play them too deep like the Niners used to do. The safeties always play too deep when it's on passing downs, and just make the trade-off between linebackers and corners and take the safeties out of it. There are some things they can do to mitigate it, but there will be a lot of communication that they have to be on top of. And yeah, if I'm being honest, I'm not sure they're capable of it.
I was listening to Dieter and Hutch, and they talked about how as the season has gone along, Robert Saleh has run a simpler and simpler defense because of all the injuries. They said week 1, they were doing all sorts of crazy stuff. They're not doing that now. They're doing basically quarters every play. But what they were saying is, like, there's a lot of communication that has to take place in quarters, even though it's not necessarily like a complicated defense, because as the offense moves and shifts, your responsibilities change. And so even though they're trying to simplify it, a lot of times things aren't simple. And that's when we're seeing some of these busts in coverage. And like I said, that's why I feel like they really miss Fred. That is just an area where I don't think it's going to get any better, because it hasn't gotten any better. They're still blowing assignments on similar concepts. A lot of times, like, the safeties don't know who's who in the zoo. And sometimes Jair Brown gets put in a situation where there's 2 guys. And so he's wrong no matter who he chooses to cover. So there's a lot of brain drain on this 49ers defense. And I think that has crushed them. I think Ben Johnson took advantage of it. And I think that other teams are going to watch the Ben Johnson film now, starting with Seattle, and be like, oh, we should just do that.
Yeah, have a fast receiver come across formation. That's what they were doing with Burden. It was fast receiver come across formation. It will not get picked up and traded off correctly.
Oh, man. I have to, like, take deep breaths during the game, and I have to just be like, they're not going to stop them many times. Like, I just have to get used to that, because otherwise I just get so angry during the game. I'm just like, this defense, like, just be mid, and we blow teams out.
Well, here's a bright side. Looking on the bright side of life, they did not get a single turnover last game. Darnold will almost definitely turn the ball over in this game once, at least. So if they could win without forcing a single turnover and the opposing offense doing what they want, then they stand a decent chance of winning. The offense has to be on. If the offense isn't on, then they're in trouble. They can't win unless the offense is on. I do worry that the Seahawks now have a week to plan where I think it's doubtful Trent Williams plays.
Yep.
And they have a week to plan to mess with Pleasance and basically make him rear his head. Whereas I think the Bears did not. The Bears did not send blitzes through there. They didn't just sit and say, we're going to keep overloading this guy's side of the field because he's the backup. He's not going to do well enough. It was, they assumed Trent Williams was there, and then they didn't adjust when he went out.
The Seahawks have a whole week to plan for that, but so do the 49ers, right? Like they have a whole week to plan for, hey, we won't have Trent. We're going to have to chip and figure that out. And that'll be part of the sort of head games between the coaching staffs that take place as well.
I want to see a lot of formations where Juice is lined up there like he was, because then he can do the chip and you let George Kittle have the free release.
Dale8288 says Demo can cover and not commit a penalty on his own. Well, that would be the question, but there's only one way to find out, right? I think that they should definitely give that a shot. I do want to get to the other side of the ball in a second, and we will. But first, I want to talk about Sleeper. We've been using them all season long. We're so grateful they hopped on, and you should check it out because if you do, I promise there's going to be something there that you like. Jason was even telling me yesterday, if you do your fantasy league with Sleeper, you can see everybody that owes money. So you don't have to track down the commissioner to get the money for you. You could just go right to people that owe. You could see who's paid, who hasn't paid. It is a one-stop shop for all your football needs. And if you want to make your picks, it's even easier. You just pick higher or lower on a bunch of different stats, and you could win up to 1,000 times your cash. It's that simple. They do football stuff. They do all sports. So if you're like, oh, football's over now, guess what? NBA, you can still make college football picks as well. Everything you want in terms of your picks is there for Sleeper. Go check it out. Just download the app and sign up. You'll get a free $20 entry. And if you want to actually deposit money, if you use our code GSP, you will get a 100% match on your first deposit up to $100. So go and check it out. I promise something will be there that you will like. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. All right, Levin, let's flip it now. Let's look at the 49ers offense against this Seahawks defense. And we'll start it with this question from Gabe Garoni, YouTube channel member. Shout out to all our members. Gabe says, can the Niners offense slow down and play keep away with their recent rushing and third down conversion success, or are they too reliant on passing?
And they're winning the time of possession. It's not like they're going down and scoring 1 minute drives where they got a 60-yard bomb. The longest touchdown of the year, is it the Jennings one from this last week? 38 yards? That might be the longest of the season. Like, they don't have these long touchdowns. So even though they're passing, it's not like they're passing and scoring after 3 plays. They're still having these, 8, 9, 10 plus play drives where they're eating up. I mean, they had, I think, 2 drives of more than 6 minutes in the last game. So I think that as long as they score, that's the most important thing. But it's not like they're not using the clock while they're doing it, even though passing has been big.
They dominated time of possession in the first half. In the second half, they were scoring faster. So it wasn't quite like the dominant performance for the overall game that you would see. But I think Gabe brings up the key point. And the key point is third downs, because what you have in this game is strength against strength. You have the Seahawks defense, which is number 1 in the league on third down. They are holding opponents to just 32.4% conversion on third down. And you have the Niners offense, which is the best in the league at converting third downs. They're converting 51%. And as Jeff Deeney of Pro Football Focus notes, the Niners have converted 64% of their third downs over the last 4 weeks. And I can tell you, as someone that's watched every snap, it is not just 3rd and 1s that they are converting. It is 3rd and long, it is 3rd and short, it's 3rd and whatever. But that's the matchup in this game. The strength of the Seahawks defense on third down against the strength of the Niners offense on third down. And whoever wins that battle probably wins the game.
Yeah, it is a very interesting matchup. The more you look into the statistics of the two teams, the more you find things that are interesting. I mean, you could do an entire show that all it is interesting statistics in this matchup where it's strength versus strength, or in some cases, there are weaknesses versus weaknesses.
The matchup between Mike Macdonald, who I think is widely regarded as like one of the young whiz kids on defense, and of course Kyle Shanahan, who we all know is one of the best offensive coaches in the game, is going to be fascinating in this one. And like you said, how Shanahan sort of plans around the Trent Williams thing obviously goes into that mix. The Cabo Kid, YouTube channel member, thank you for that donation. It's very generous. Says, Happy New Year from Cabo, fellas. Thank you both for another year of great coverage. You guys are the gold standard of the gold standard. Well, there you go. Thank you very much, Cabo kid. I appreciate that.
Appreciate it. Is Ayuk in Cabo with you?
Probably. Oh God. As I dig into this Seahawks defense, I basically noticed one thing. They stop you without having to try. And what I mean by that is they get pressure on you without having to blitz. They're number 2 in pressure, but number 25 in blitz rate. And they stop the run without having to load the box. They are number 1 in EPA per play against the run. They do not load the box that often. That's a really tough combination to go against as an offense, because basically they can rush 4 and do whatever they want with the 7. And that's exactly what the 49ers used to do when their defense was rocking and rolling.
I was going to say, yeah, as ironic as it is, the Seahawks is the exact defense that the Niners strive to be every year. They keep drafting to try to make it to where the front 4 can dominate on their own and we can drop 7 back into coverage. And the Seahawks have done it better. And they've done it without these like super high draft picks either. Like there are some high drafted players on that defense, but some of their key players are not first round picks. They're not even second round picks. They have done a good job of building that defense. And I think one of the differences that they have that the Niners only had for a brief period, the corners are great too. It's not just, oh, they're great against the pass and on defense because the front 4 can do it on their own. No, they have skill there at the corners.
Their defense is really freaking good, man. And when you combine good players with smart scheme, that is the scariest thing of all. That's why those Seahawks defenses back in the day were so just infuriating, because they were so smart. They were basically setting the trend across the league with the cover 3 scheme. And then you had just physical freaks like Richard Sherman, who was 1,000 feet tall and basically all arms and legs. You had Cam Chancellor, who could just destroy anything that moved. You had Bobby Wagner, that at that time was still fast and just one of the smartest guys on the field. So you had that combination. And that's why, frankly, they used to kick the tar out of the 49ers, even when the Niners were really, really good. And Seattle seems to be building that kind of defense now. So I'm fascinated to see what Shanahan dials up in this game, because he seems to be in his bag right now too.
I will say one of the storylines I think fans have been saying who, are taking the rosier side, and I hate to poo-poo it, but I guess that's my role. People are saying, oh, Brock Purdy's 6-1 against the Seahawks. He always plays well against Seahawks. Yes, that's true. He's done well, but what's his worst game, and who is the defensive coordinator of that game?
Right. It's that Ravens game on Christmas.
Like, it's not quite the same.
Now,
you got that guy that knows how to beat him.
We used to say, Mike Macdonald doesn't have the players that he had in Baltimore, but now he kind of does.
Yeah. I will be interested to see who gets the leg up on the other, because they played each other. Mm-hmm. But it's been as long as you possibly can get between the two games. Does Kyle Shanahan come out with a couple different looks that throw the Seahawks for a loop where they weren't expecting that out of that formation or out of that motion? Or does it go the other way where you see an interception or something because they showed one thing pre-snap and then post-snap it was completely different than they were expecting, because it was completely different than what they've shown this season? Like, who has the bigger advantage over having already played this season, Kyle Shanahan or Mike Macdonald?
And I think it's a huge factor in this game, because when you look at some of the games the 49ers have won, especially maybe some games where you didn't think that they were going to win. Case in point, perfect example is that first Rams game, right? When everybody was hurt. What happened? 49ers came out, touchdown on the first drive, stopped the Rams, touchdown on the second drive. If the 49ers can predict better how Seattle's going to start this game and they can get a couple stops early, just like we saw against Chicago, the Niners defense got a couple of stops early. The Niners offense has to capitalize and put up touchdowns, not a touchdown and a field goal, multiple touchdowns. And then you play the rest of the game from a position of strength, because in theory, even if the other team scores, you always get the ball back with a chance to make it a 2-score game again. And then if you get the ball after halftime, you could even do potentially even more damage if things line up the right way. And so whatever side can maybe guess right, so to speak, on terms of the looks that they are going to get early on in the game before the adjustments are made, I think could have a big factor in how that game plays out after the first couple possessions.
Considering their head coach being a great defensive coordinator and Sam Darnold on the other side, but the Niners have been scoring a bunch of points and have a bad defense, which one do you think is more likely to rear its head? I.e., do you expect a shootout or do you expect a lower scoring game? Because there's reasons to look and say, well, they won't score a bunch of points. This is going to be a game where first to 20 points wins. And then there's obviously the more easier to see from a Niners perspective, because it's what they've been seeing the last few weeks. You're expecting a shootout. Like, I feel like Seahawks fans are going in saying, no, this is going to be a low scoring game because that's what they've been seeing week after week, other than that Rams game. I mean, I think the Seahawks are averaging something like 17.5 points over the last 8 weeks, something very low. I can't remember exactly what it was. But the Niners fans from the other perspective are going, well, we've seen a bunch of shootouts, so that's what I'm expecting. And I think there's arguments for both sides.
I think that it's much more likely that this is a shootout, just because I don't doubt that maybe Seattle can slow down San Francisco, but there's no way San Francisco is going to slow down. I'm so low in terms of confidence on the defense that I just think that even if Seattle's not playing that well, if you can't get pressure on a quarterback, you basically have to depend on them to make mistakes. And I mean, we saw with Caleb Williams, he made a couple of big mistakes, missing open guys, missing open throws. I don't know that Sam Darnold is going to miss those the way Caleb Williams did. And if he doesn't, 40 may not be enough.
Yeah. I think it will not be low scoring, but I don't think both teams are reaching 30. I could see both teams winning in a blowout. There's a lot of different ways, and I think a lot of it depends on how it starts. I think if the Niners get down, they're up Schitt's Creek, because the Seahawks defense is going to be able to do what they want at that point. I don't think either team can come back in this game, is what I'm getting at. Like this, if it's a close game, I think that it will not be a repeat of that Chicago game. I'd be surprised if it's like that. Do I think it will be low scoring? No, I don't think 20 points is going to win this game.
No, God, no. Sean Turner says, great job, fellas. Keep up the great work. Go damn Niners, and let's have a happy instant reaction show on February 8th. I don't know why you say it like a yokel. That's fine, Sean Turner. We appreciate it. And thank you for the super chat, because Sean and I usually disagree on a lot of stuff. So the fact that we can do that and you still felt compelled to give a donation.
He must be a smart guy.
We really appreciate that. He disagrees with you too, you jerk.
Maybe not a genius, but
you know, one thing I'd like to see on offense that I feel like the Niners haven't really done, I'd like to see Kittle and Tonjes on the field at the same time. Every time Tonjes has to fill in for George Kittle, he has a damn good game. He is a solid player. Why can't we have both of them on the field? Like, I would rather have Tonjes on the field than Kendrick Bourne. And if you go two tight ends and they load the box, then you throw it. And if they go two tight ends and they play the pass, then maybe you could use them to run block a little bit.
I mean, I would like to see the wrinkle. I don't know that you would run it a lot unless you're just finding success in it. And then you go, okay, well, we only planned on doing this a couple times, but we're going to do it over and over again because they can't seem to match up against it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I would like to see it. I don't want to see it be, oh, Kittle's back, Tonjes won't even really play.
Right. Like, he's really impressed me. I mean, he had that touchdown that they didn't count because Kyle didn't want to challenge it. That should have been a touchdown. Last week, he was wide ass open in the end zone, caught another one, made some really good plays, some third down plays. A lot of his catches went for first downs. Like, they have been searching for a tight end beyond George Kittle forever. We are just rotating guys in that spot. I think they found it.
I'll say this. Luke Farrell should not see the field over time.
Right. He stinks, man. He can't block. That's his only job. He doesn't block. Like the play against the Colts where the ball gets popped up and he catches it and runs for a gain. It's like, yeah, of course he catches it because he was chasing the guy that got past him that hit Purdy that caused the fumble.
Yeah. Luke Farrell, I'd be surprised if they keep that contract on the books.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it. I haven't dove into
it. Was something like 2 years and he got like $5 million per. There's zero reason to be paying him anything more than that minimum.
Yeah, it hasn't worked out. But the nicest way to say it is it just hasn't worked out.
Yeah, I mean, is he an NFL caliber player? Yes. Is he an NFL caliber player that brings something extra that you want to pay extra for? Absolutely not.
No. And they made a big deal of like, hey, we went out and got this guy. And
It was the biggest signing.
Yeah. Well, like everything this season, it's not how we thought it was going to go. But fortunately, other things have happened instead that have picked up the slack. Before we go,
Levin's hot takes.
I can't wait to see the tepid nonsense you've cooked up for us this week.
I'm going to keep the email going. I do have one that's probably going to be a little more controversial second. But first, I'm going to say I am not one for liking excuses. But if Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, Jed York come out after the game and grill the NFL and say this should absolutely never happen, I would be completely okay with it. No team, it should literally be written as a rule, can play 3 games in 12 days. That is what the Niners are facing. They got short week after short week. 3 games in 12 days is a massive safety issue for starters, and 2, it's just a massive disadvantage. This was a week where they got to choose the schedule. There was no reason for it other than the network argued for it. ESPN wanted this game. That's exactly what happened. ESPN wanted this game and said, that is the game we want, and they were given it. It should not have happened. This should have been a Sunday game, period.
I completely agree with you. The 49ers absolutely got screwed. Kyle Shanahan didn't say as much, but you could tell he wasn't pleased. He said basically they were bitter about it for 10 seconds, but they can't do anything about it, so they had to move on. But like he even said yesterday, they're not doing any real practices this week because they're just trying to heal up and rest. They've had to cut stuff out. Second straight week on a short week. And I know Seattle had to travel to Carolina too. Yeah, great. I completely agree with this take. And I don't even think it's that hot just because I think it's...
Well, the hot part of it is if they came out and said, F the league, this should have never happened, I would not be sitting there saying, that's a bad look. You shouldn't blame that after you just lost. No, I'd be saying absolutely, speak up more.
If you're going to do it, though, do it now. Because if you do it after a loss, you just look like a crybaby. Like if you want to speak up about it, you should do it before the game actually starts.
Yeah, but you don't want to make excuses before the game. That's a bad mindset to have your team in. But I would not have a problem if Kyle Shanahan in the post-game presser said, before I address the game, 3 games in 12 days should have an NFL rule against it. I don't care what the networks want. Player safety has to matter at some point. I would have no problem with that.
At the end of December, too. It's one thing to have 3 games in 12 days in September, right? But like this is when you've been just taking the pounding all year long. It is incredibly frustrating. The NFL does not care. That's the short answer. They don't care how it affects player safety. They don't care how it affects the quality of the football. All they care about is maximizing ratings and thus maximizing dollars. That is it.
Okay, I got to throw this up on the screen because it's an A+ comment. Mike UA says, when will Levin give us a real hot take?
We're all still
using the name that we were arguing about. It's not spelled W-H-E-N.
Benali says, let's not tick off the NFL before the game. I don't know if Roger Goodell's checking out the stream today, Benali, but...
do you think he'll be at the game?
That's an interesting question. Saturday night, it's the night game. It's possible. Yeah, there's
either that or he's going to be in Pittsburgh for the night game the following day.
He might be in both.
He might be in both. I mean, he loves to get in front of the camera. So those are the 2 games that you get the most important camera time because they're going to be the 2 highest watched games by a wide margin.
Sourdough Sam says, I hope he steps on a Lego. That's harsh. Let me tell you, as a father of 2 kids, 11 and 5, you step on a Lego with a bare foot, it's like you go down like a sniper just took you out. It's painful.
It's painful. I've done it, but I have not gone down when I do it.
Oh, man. Depending on what piece it is that you step on and how much force.
There is a curse word that comes out.
Only one?
Yeah, the time it happened.
All right. You got any more hot takes for us?
I got one more.
Okay.
And it is taking us away from the game. That's why I saved it for second.
All right.
Frank Gore should not make the Hall of Fame this year.
Whoa. Okay, that's a 3-pepper hot take.
He's not a first ballot Hall of Famer. I'm sorry. I know he's third all time, but that's literally the only thing he has for a Hall of Fame. Frank Gore is one of my top 3 all-time favorite 49ers, but I think first ballot Hall of Famers is different. And Frank Gore is a stat compiler. I think he deserves to get in the Hall of Fame. But as I said, first ballot is reserved for something else, something a cut above the rest, inner circle type of Hall of Fame. Add in that there's a massive logjam to get in the Hall of Fame right now. I don't think he should be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
That is a 3-pepper spicy take. That is not going to win you a lot of fans around these parts. I know you've never shied away from comments like that in the past. It's an interesting ballot this year. I'm trying to bring up the picture so I could show everybody.
I just got told in the chat to stick the 3 peppers somewhere.
Well done. You've got Frank Gore. Larry Fitzgerald, to me, is absolutely a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah, Drew Brees and Larry Fitz are the 2 lock first. They are inner circle Hall of Famers.
I think you can make an argument for Luke Kuechly being a first ballot inner circle Hall of Famer.
So I have Luke in my top 5. I think Jason Witten is an obvious should go right in. So that's 4. And to me, I think it's ridiculous he has not been in yet. And funny enough, I think I'm seeing highlights on the right side of him. It should be Torrey Holt, in my opinion. He should have been in. Torrey Holt is somebody that if he did not get hurt, he would have easily been top 3. He probably would have ended up with more yards than Terrell Owens. So to me, he should have been in first ballot. He had 13,000 plus yards, and he played 11 seasons. But he had a terrible turf toe. He played on it for 2 years, and he retired because of pain at age 33. Even if he played 2 more years producing as he was with that injury, which was like 700-800 yards, he would have been top 5 when he retired. He would have had more yards than Isaac Bruce. So he should have been in the Hall of Fame a long time ago. He's been eligible for more than a decade. So to me, it's time to put him in.
Well, that's the thing. It's like the waiting game that everybody has to play. And I will say this, it's not going to be a first ballot, but like you can't have a better case as a kicker than Adam Vinatieri.
Yeah.
Like there is no better case for a kicker in the Hall of Fame than Adam Vinatieri. He's got multiple Super Bowl winning kicks.
Yeah. I considered him, but I feel like when there's a log jam, it's not the kicker you pick.
No, they are not going to give it to the kicker. So this is a spicy take, but I have to say, I think I agree with it. I love Frank Gore forever. Of course, who doesn't? I do think he is a Hall of Famer. I agree with you that there are better running backs in the Hall of Fame than Frank Gore. I think we can acknowledge his greatness while also putting him in the proper context. It's be a bummer for him. He may have to wait. I'm hoping Roger Craig gets in because don't forget, he's in a different pool.
Yeah, he's in a different group. Yeah.
So he could still get in and that not affect the guys that I just had on the screen. But maybe that's the 49ers running back that we have to hope for this year.
It would be kind of cool if they both go in together.
It would be, but maybe they
I
don't.
don't think Roger Craig should have to wait another year.
Yeah.
But I do feel like if Roger Craig is going in, if that's something that becomes very likely, like, the people in the circle that vote for these things here, that the veteran committee is likely putting in Roger Craig, I do think that they would probably say, all right, well, we have a really hard choice here for what 5 are going in, because I would say out of the final 15, 13, 14, I think you could even make a pretty easy case. All 15 are deserving of Hall of Fame eventually. So it's very hard to pick. I could see them saying, well, the Niners already have Roger Craig going in. Let's hold Frank Gore for a year.
And there is that kind of politics when it comes down to this. So
the NFL wants those politics because they want the Hall of Fame ceremony and everything to be as appeal to as many fan bases as possible. So they don't want to load it up with a single fan base.
Yeah, and the ratings, right? This just didn't. They want all of that. I do agree with you. In a weird way, I feel like Roger Craig is gaining momentum this year, and I think it's because of the year that Christian McCaffrey had. Because every time they bring up, he might go 1,000, you can't mention Christian McCaffrey without mentioning Roger Craig. And so I think all of a sudden more people are aware of like, damn, that guy was pretty damn good.
Yeah, and it's funny because Roger Craig, I think, has a Hall of Fame resume similar to some of the people in the finalists this year, where they had a very high peak, but not much after that. Kevin Williams, Yonda, guys like that, like they had high peaks. Like Yonda made 8 Pro Bowls because he was the only guard worth a damn in the NFL for a while there, and he wasn't that great. You know what I mean? Like he had a peak where he was really good for 5 years, and then like I remember him well because of the team he was on, always in the playoffs. I think he made some Pro Bowls that was just, oh, that's a name I recognize type of getting in. But he basically had a 5-year period of dominance that's similar to Roger Craig, that's similar to Kevin Williams, and similar to some of the guys that are finalists this year, where they had a as good as you can get peak and then tailed off quickly.
I don't know off the top of my head, Yonda, like the details of Yonda's career, but I know.
Well, I went and looked when I was writing down my 5. I was like, let me double check these guys to make sure that my memory of them is accurate. Yonda, I remember being, he was dominant there for a while, especially during that Super Bowl. But it was not a long-term peak. Same with Kevin Williams. I think he made 3 All-Pros, maybe 4, but he really had only 5 years of being effective.
All right, let's grab the wheel, jerk it back to 49ers Seahawks before we go. I know you're going to join me for the instant reaction on Saturday night, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So when we start that show, will the 49ers have the number 1 seed and a first round bye, or are we going to have to take the road much less travel to get to the Super Bowl, which is potentially a game in Philly, a game maybe in LA, who knows, a much, much more difficult road.
I'm not allowed to plead the 5th.
It's really
I go back and forth on it. This truly is, I think, a toss-up. And as we talked about, I think you have very legitimate and multiple arguments for both sides. There is multiple reasons you can point to and say the Seahawks will win this game. There are multiple reasons you can point to and say the 49ers will win this game. That's not always the case when you play games. A lot of times you play a game and it's like, well, this team is not favored, but they have this one path to winning. It's hard, but I just feel like, people are going to hate me. I'm picking. If I have to pick, it's the Seahawks. I think that the Niners have already exceeded expectations, and I also just think that this defense, it's not going to be enough. And at some point, the offense can't keep scoring 40 plus.
Well, here's the scary part about it is I think that the offense is good enough to continue doing it, but the problem is they may score 40 and still lose. I mean, they were a whisper away from losing that game against the Bears. Like that last play, first of all, if Ben Johnson doesn't butcher the clock management, they may have lost that game. Second of all, that final play is wonky, man. It is wonky as hell. The linebackers are supposed to blitz. They don't blitz. They say they went rogue. Shanahan yesterday said they didn't go rogue, so who the hell knows? But it just mucked everything up. The offense could put up 35 points, 38 points in this game, and they could still lose. So that's the part that scares me the most. I think that Brock's good enough to keep it rolling. I think Kyle is good enough to keep it rolling. I'm going to take the 49ers, but it's all feels. It has nothing to do with my head. It has a lot to do with my heart.
Yeah, so what you're saying that if you had to bet your life savings, you would pick a different team.
Probably, yeah. I would not. I am not going to touch the outcome. We'll do our props tomorrow with Michelle, but I am not going to actually bet the spread or the winner or any of that.
Yeah, it really is, I think, one of the hardest games that I can remember in terms of being able to pick, because you really can. It's just personal bias. Oh, do you like the matchup of their defense versus the Niners offense because they can only rush 4, still get pressure, and drop 7 back? If you like that, then you're going to pick the Seahawks. Or do you like, well, the Niners offense is completely unstoppable, so how can you beat them? Or the Niners are at home, so that's why I'm choosing. Like, there's so many different reasons to pick both teams that it's really just personal bias. What type of thing do you like more, or just gut feeling?
If the Niners can keep that run game going too, that'll be a massive, massive boost. It'll help slow down that Seattle pass rush. I don't know what's going to happen. I do know this. It's not going to be boring, and whatever happens, we'll be live right here immediately after the game, breaking it down. And just keep in mind, whatever happens, we've got at least one playoff game coming too. So we all want the number 1 seed. I get that. I will be disappointed if they don't get it, but they still have a playoff game after that. And that is really what matters more than anything else. But it's going to be a ton of fun at Levi's.
Yeah, please win, because I think 4 games in 20 days is what they would be staring at if they got to play in the wild card.
Yeah.
I don't like the chances playing 4 games in 20 days and having to go across the country to do it.
Not ideal. Anyway, like this video. Thank you, everybody. Subscribe to the channel. And one last thing quickly, because it is New Year's Eve. Please, 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 please. You celebrate tonight. You have something to drink. I have no issue with that. Do not get behind the wheel of a car. Please. There are free ride services out there. You don't even have to pay any money. Take care of yourself. Take care of other people on the road. Please, please, please do not get behind the wheel if you've had something to drink. We can avoid, every year we lose people on this night. We don't have to. We can avoid that. I am begging you, just please do the smart thing tonight.
I mean, here's a great argument for it. If you get behind the wheel after drinking, you don't get to watch this game.
Right. You'll miss the game.
So think about, the Niners need you, as Rob likes to say. Whatever you've been doing, keep doing it. Well, I would bet what you've been doing is not going to jail, so don't do it.
Please, everybody, take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. We'll talk after the game. We'll talk tomorrow, but we'll also talk after the game. Enjoy it. Go damn Niners.